So I'm a big fan of Michael Singer, and he wrote The Untethered Soul and the Surrender Experiment. And it's funny because I listened to the most recent podcast, and it really brought to light, right? A topic that he brings up is how our brains work. And I don't know about you. Again, these videos are more for me than they are for you. So hopefully this can help somebody, but really I'm doing this for me. I still wake up in the morning, sometimes 4, 4:30, 5 o'clock, and the brain is going, right? The mind is operating. Wow, you forgot about this thing. Why didn't you do that yesterday? Or this, you messed up your schedule and you're conflicting with this. Why didn't you think of that? Or remember that thing you were worried about 2 weeks ago? Yeah, that's going to happen today. And you better be careful because let's catastrophize that event and make it the worst case scenario. And how do we prepare for that? And I've been on this journey, right? Using meditation, using yoga, using plant medicine, using all these things to try to really connect more with my heart than my brain. But he makes a really interesting point. From the very first moment of the Big Bang, right? And I don't know if it was 13.8 billion years ago. I don't know where that number came from. But like from the very first moment, when all those particles exploded from nothing into everything, right? Into all the elements and hydrogen fused into helium, then helium kept fusing into all the way up to all of these things happened and created all of these particles, all of these elements, and then ultimately the elements created carbon. Carbon ended up creating our galaxy, and we ended up as carbon units, life forms, on a planet that can sustain life. I thought that was interesting. Then he goes on to say, we find ourselves as humans on Earth, on this planet, and let's say we started with what? Earth, water, fire, rocks, dirt, right? All the elements, right? Underneath the ground. And our brilliant brains and brilliant minds as humans took those natural elements of air, water, fire, dirt, right? Like carbon, iron, stuff like that from the ground. And we created computers and then rocket ships and got off into outer space and landed on a moon. Our brains did that from natural stuff found on the earth. I think that was a really cool item. Then he goes on to say that as humans, our brain are so powerful, right? And we haven't even tapped into what most of it can do. But as we're kids, we learn with our heart, right? Everything kind of goes into our subconscious and our heart is reacting. His hearts are wide open. And we learn things, how to be loved, and we push away pain. And we want to hold on to happiness and pleasure. And we are setting ourselves up and start to create things with our brain from our heart saying, keep me away from that. So there's a moment when we start to get older and our heart is telling our brain, hey, super smart, unbelievable brain, I don't want to feel that pain again when I just had that rejection or my parents walked away, and they didn't know what they were doing and I feel abandonment or I feel betrayal or I feel blame and guilt and shame. I don't want to feel that anymore. So I'm going to ask you to come up with every possible scenario that you can think of so we can avoid that. So I don't feel that pain anymore. And the brain says to the heart, are you sure? I'm really freaking good at what I do. I don't stop until I exhaust every possible option. And by the way, there's infinite options. So if you're sure, I'll do it. And the heart says, yes, please. I don't want to feel that pain anymore. I don't want to feel that. I'm scared of it. Figure this out. And so the brain begins, probably at a very early age, to think of every possible scenario of how we can be loved, accepted, and hold on to the happy feelings and hold on to the pleasure, but push all of the other nasty stuff away. And what does that do? Creates an anxiety spiral, creates worry, creates guilt and shame, creates a whole way of operating that at one point we thought we were keeping ourselves safe. But the super smart, unbelievably intelligent brain that created computers and rocket ships and flew us to the moon now has a whole different task to keep the heart safe. When in reality, there's no way to keep the heart safe because every single thing that happens in front of us, the guy that cut you off in traffic today, or the person that you thought betrayed you because they didn't talk to you for a few weeks, or a business partner that didn't go right, everything that's happened, we try to put meaning behind when it's all impersonal. And it's all a result of atoms and neutrons that blew up 13.8 billion years ago and has created the moment in front of you right now. So my new lessons that I'm learning is to slow this down, which has gotten me far, and I love it, but to really tap into this and using those modalities, right? Using yoga and hard fitness things and meditations and plant medicine and psychedelics work, using trauma-informed healers, right? Like these are all things that we can do so that we can start to accept what is and not be triggered and be okay with feelings coming in and feelings being let go and not holding on. That felt nasty. I don't like that. I'm going to remember that and ask this to fix that so it doesn't happen again. Or fight against something like the weather, or fight against something like that betrayal. How can you tap more into your heart than in your brain? I'm learning all this, and deep breaths even right now, talking to you, I'm annoyed at my own voice. The voice in the back of my head is saying, you are over talking, you're over speaking. Who gives a shit about what you have to say? Right? You're not talking about real estate boy. Go back to real estate when you knew what you were doing. There's the voice. But I choose to not listen, and I choose to speak from here. Because like I said before, this isn't for you. This is for me. Hope this helps somebody.